Alright. Hey yo, Slurp. What you think of that coronavirus? Yo, Slurp, you got that coronavirus? You got. What about you, Coda? You got that coronavirus? I say, hey, you got that coronavirus? Y'all got coronavirus? What you got there, Slurpus? You got coronavirus? Slurp, do you have corona? Do you have the coronavirus? What do you think of Coda? What do you think about coronavirus? Okay, very epic. Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of Internet Idiocracy, the show where we take a big fat dookie on all the horrendous stupidity from all corners of the internet. I'm your host, MattCMG, and I'd like to welcome you all to Volume 2 of the Internet Idiocracy Variety Hour, where instead of shitting all over one topic, we spread the wealth of doo-doo feces and throw it out a little bit of everybody. You know, a little bit of poopy here, little bit of dung there. Everybody gets a little turd, you know what I'm saying? Now let's just hop right into our first topic of the day, Reddit. Now, I actually really enjoy Reddit. I spend an exorbitant amount of time there just mindlessly scrolling through it. You know, it's an okay place. There's really a subreddit for everybody, whether you're into video games, anime, model trains, photography, feet. Reddit is typically a decent place overall. You know, there's lots of great user-generated content, and it's a decent place for discussion if you don't mind cringy Reddit humor. That, my friends, is going to be our first topic of the day. Really bad Reddit humor. You know, I think everybody at this point is familiar with memes, you know, and if you've been on this channel for a little while, you'll probably know my love-hate relationship with memes. You know, for every good meme, there's like 100 really shitty ones. And I think the two subreddits that showcase this perfectly are r/memes and r/dank memes. These two subreddits are very similar because they're dedicated to memes of all kinds. And I think the problem with these two subreddits is that 99% of the content on each of them is recycled, low-effort content that appeals to the lowest common denominator of fucking cringe lords. It honestly seems like every other day there's a new meme format that these cringy 14-year-olds appropriate and turn into these horrible, unfunny, sorry excuses for memes. Fucking shoot me in the dick. Now, if you've ever been on any of these subreddits, then you'll notice a pattern. They're almost all format memes. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a format meme is, it's where you take a meme picture and you Photoshop it to reference something else. You know, distracted boyfriend is a good example of a format meme. A lot of memes these days are format memes, but the way to distinguish a good format meme from a bad one is how the meme plays with the format. For instance, take a look at this meme right here. It's kind of unfunny, but you don't really need words to explain it. You know, the reference kind of explains itself. Now, if we look at a more recent yet similar meme from one of those cringy meme subreddits, we'll get stuff like this. This is an example of a format meme done badly, where they take a template, but they don't do anything even remotely creative with it. They literally just took something that's like, lol, so relatable, and they overlaid it in text form in the least creative way possible. There can be good memes where they just overlay impact font on top of an image like this, but you'll find ones that are really like long and overblown, like something dumb like 7-year-old me wishing he had Epic Gamer PC set up, and it's like, bruh, I came here to laugh, not to read. Fuck you. These subreddits are filled with this type of garbage. You know, if you're gonna make a meme with some substance, not this generic trash. Almost all of it is like that old Vine, you know, like, I do that. I think what's even worse than the low-effort memes like this are the ones that are trying to, like, start a movement or some shit like that. This is kind of a cringy thing about Reddit culture in general, I guess, but sometimes you'll see a meme that's like, insert person here did bad thing, time for a fucking crusade, or like, oh, let's band together to raise money for the coronavirus. As if a bunch of fucking Redditors have any fucking influence at all. Like, yeah, you're gonna help arrest a potential animal abuser or something like that because an army of teenage cringe lords saw an unfunny meme about it. Get fucking real. You know, whenever I scroll through Reddit these days, I really don't find a lot of it funny. A lot of memes I see on Reddit nowadays are comparable to like saltine crackers. You know, they're like super bland and I'll willingly consume them, but it's not really doing anything for me. But don't get me wrong, there are actual good subreddits where you can find good quality memes such as r/OKBuddyRetard, anti-meme, bone-hurting juice, and dank videos. But you'd think that the two subreddits with names like memes and r/dank memes would have a lot more than just low-effort shit that appeals to teenagers. You know, the point of a meme is to make somebody laugh, but I hardly see any memes on these subreddits that would ever do anything more than, like, smile at. You know, they would never evoke any emotion that's, like, actually funny. Like, I have never seen a shitty meme on fucking Reddit or whatever on any of these subreddits that has made me like actually fucking wheeze laughing. I've never been like, I doubt anybody, in fact, has ever seen a meme like this or something like that, and it's going, that's the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen! Like, you get the point. Very rarely will you find anything that's actually like laugh out loud funny on any of these subreddits, but and even when you do, they're very far and few between. You know, maybe it's just me though, you know, maybe I'm just outgrowing memes. Or maybe I've just laughed at too many car accident videos and my sense of humor is completely fucking destroyed. Either way. Next topic! Oh, you guys ready for this one? You guys ready for this one? This one's gonna be a fucking doozy. Ooh, let's talk about Jake Paul. I've never talked about the Paul brothers on this channel before, and mostly because I don't fucking care. But just for some context, here's where I stand on these two failed abortions. Logan Paul is tolerable. Jake Paul is a nitwit. Allow me to explain. After all the controversy surrounding him, Logan Paul has, I think, made an actual effort to redeem and better himself in the eyes of the larger community. After the, the Suicide Forest thing, after the tasering a dead rat, and after his horrible attempt at a comeback and all the bullshit in between, I genuinely think Logan Paul has seen the error of his ways. You know, I can't say that I've ever seen one of his videos, and if I had to take a guess, I'd say his content is probably still pretty fucking abysmal. But you can tell by the way he's been acting lately that he's trying to avoid another controversy and has really toned himself down. In his own weird Logan Paul kind of way, he's kind of grown up, or at least as much as a 24-year-old man-child YouTube vlogger can really grow up. His brother Jake Paul, though, yeah, that's gonna be a go fuck yourself from me, dog. I'm just gonna put this bluntly here. Jake Paul is a fucking moron. He's quite possibly the epitome of a basic white kid who has been failed by any form of education he may have received. Like, I genuinely think, and I'm not even saying this to be mean, but I genuinely think that Jake Paul has a fucking mental disability. Like, if you look at some of the things that he says and does, the people he associates himself with, and the content that he actually thinks is unironically fucking gold, he's quite possibly mentally retarded. Like, watch any interview with the guy. Like, 9 times out of 10, he's got his mouth hanging open like, ugh. Like, he's like a fucking Neanderthal trying his goddamn hardest to comprehend what a fucking giraffe is. Like you know how some people have resting bitch face? Well, Jake Paul has resting retard face. Now, Jake Paul has been involved in his fair share of controversies and almost as many as his brother, with stuff like the supposed racial abuse and racism in the Team 10 house, harassing his neighbors on live television, his fake marriage with Tana Mongoloid and their extremely sexual tweets that they know that their 9-year-old audience is reading, and that's just the tip of the Jake Paul iceberg. However, the reason we're talking about this little bundle of fucktard today is because of this tweet from a few weeks ago, which reads, "Remember, anxiety is created by you. Sometimes you gotta let life play out and remind yourself to be happy and that the answers will come. Chill your mind out. Go for a walk. Talk to a friend." Bro, this like the most normie shit I've ever fucking read. Like, this is why normies need to be fucking eradicated from this earth. Now, if you couldn't tell by now, Jake Paul is not very intelligent. Literally, why on God's green earth would anybody with an actual anxiety disorder take anxiety advice from a guy who probably doesn't even know the meaning of the word anxiety? He probably doesn't even know how to fucking spell it. Probably had his PR team do that. This is that classic, like, oh, it's all in your head shit that the people who have never had problems with anxiety before tell people that do. Hey man, listen, it's all in your head, bro. Oh, thanks, man. You have just cured my GAD completely, bro. You have depression? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you tried not being sad? Oh, I haven't actually considered that. Thank you. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I can finally leave this whole depression thing in the past. Leave this behind me. You hear how dumb that sounds? Well, imagine thinking this, but unironically. Now, we're gonna get a little serious here, and I think I'll play devil's advocate for a second and say that it is true that there are definitely a ton of people out there who think that they have an anxiety disorder who actually don't. Like, I personally thought I had one for years until I eventually realized that I just hate people and the act of conversing with them feels like a fucking chore. For many people, especially young people like teenagers, anxiety is just a buzzword for feeling nervous, which is of course a very common emotion at young ages. And even as an adult, adults get nervous too. Many of these people who say they have anxiety are likely just stressed, didn't get enough sleep, are nervous about something, are hormonal, or possibly a combination of those things. But the difference between that and an actual disorder is that anxiety eventually goes away. Actual anxiety disorders do not. This isn't to dismiss the people who have actual medically diagnosed anxiety disorders, but you'd be crazy to think that there aren't people out there who think that they have it but don't. Like, don't come up to me and tell me that you have anxiety because you were nervous for a PowerPoint presentation in the 10th grade one time, because that's not anxiety. It's a natural human emotion, you fucking fool. If you've been diagnosed by a medical professional with like GAD or something like that, then by all means go crazy. Not literally, but you know what I mean. You have a right to say you have anxiety. But we need to take this word, anxiety, and fucking kill it. It has become one of the worst buzzwords imaginable, and it does nothing but fuel ignoramuses like Jake Paul and Keemstar, and creates many harmful misconceptions about anxiety disorders. No, Jake, you can't cure anxiety by telling people to just be happy. The fact that you think it works like that is how I know for a 100% fact that you have never even met another human being that has an anxiety disorder. I've seen a few people argue that Jake wasn't actually referring to anxiety disorders, but rather this aforementioned concept of anxiety meaning nervousness, but that's gonna be a no, though, since no matter which way you slice it, telling somebody to be happy isn't gonna cure any form of anxiety, disorder or not. This tweet is actually representative, I think, of a bigger pile of bullshit that we've been seeing online for years now, where these multi-millionaire celebrities will make these tone-deaf tweets about like anxiety or introversion to try to connect with their normie audience, and it ironically makes them seem like normies as well. And the reason they do it is clout. Hey bruh, you got clout? You got that clout? Try and get that clout. Try and get some of that clout. I smell clout. You see that clout? Are you done? You finished? I smell the clout, and I require the clout. Captain Clout, everybody. Anyways, tweets like these are on some how do you do fellow kids shit right here. At least to me, it comes off as pretty ingenuine when you're a multi-millionaire, selling out events or performing live for thousands of people, yet you're out here talking about your anxiety. I don't mean to gatekeep here at all, but I personally have a hard time believing that somebody like, Ariana Grande, for example, who's been doing this shit for a majority of her life and frequently performs live in front of thousands of people, has crippling anxiety that is somehow seen by the masses as more real than little fucking Timmy over here, who hasn't left his room in 2 days because his body told him that ordering food would deactivate his fucking brain activity. And speaking of brain activity, let's get back to our friend Jake Paul. If I'm being honest, I think I've run out of synonyms to call this guy a brain-dead buffoon. Never mind, there's two more. So I think I'll leave you guys with this. This part of the video is directed directly towards Jake Paul. Jake, buddy, can I call you Jake? Whatever, Jake, if you're watching this, pal, bro, my guy, listen, bro, I know you mean well, but it comes off as pretty cringe, bro, and it just makes people hate you more. This is far from the worst thing you've done, but if you want people to stop hating you, stop being such a normie, and more importantly, stop being such an absolute fucking brainlet. Whatever your little pea-sized brain tells you to do, it's probably for the better that you do the opposite. Oh, guys, I found something here. Hold up. Oh, we got some normie trash here. And you know what we do to normie trash? Get the fuck out of here! Fuck you. And since we're in the realm of bad tweets, let's take a look at some Twitter beef I was involved in recently. I'm sorry guys, Daddy CMG got a little carried away. I had to put this dumbass in their fucking place. So, just for some context, let's talk about My Hero Academia. This is relevant, I swear. So, the writer and creator of the My Hero Academia manga, Koei Horikoshi, was recently under fire a month or so back because of a few things related to his manga. The first, and I think we can all agree, is the universally dumbest of these controversies, was when a bunch of people got mad at Horikoshi for one of his characters sharing a birthday with fucking Hitler, which is quite possibly the worst case of guilt by association that I've ever fucking seen. The second controversy, however, is in regards to everybody's favorite communist democracy, the oxymoron known as China. This controversy was in regards to a character from the manga whose name sounds similar to that of a World War II Japanese war criminal responsible for the deaths of thousands of Chinese and Korean citizens. We all know how China loves to censor shit, so of course My Hero Academia was banned in China, and Horikoshi was sent a barrage of hate for naming the character the way that he did. As a result of all the unwarranted hate that he was getting, a group of dedicated My Hero fans started the hashtag support Horikoshi, movement or whatever you want to call it, to show their support for him and to show them that they still liked his work regardless of all this bullshit. These people had their hearts in the right place. You can't really deny that. They wanted to support somebody who made something that they likely hold very dear to them. And I don't have a single problem with this movement. I don't hold that against them. However, here is where we get into the aforementioned beef that I got myself into. So I follow a lot of random accounts on Twitter. Some of them are like fan accounts or those like out of context accounts that have completely forgotten the original concept of an out of context clip. But you get the picture. One account in particular that I happen to have followed is at @AllForOneQuirk, a My Hero fan account that posts about the current happenings of the series. It's a pretty typical account. There's a lot of accounts just like it, though my issue with this one is that it's bordering on stan territory, and y'all know how I feel about the stans. We talked about that in the last Variety Hour. Click the link somewhere somewhere. One of these corners. Watch the fucking video. But anyways, on February 17th, 2020, this account tweeted out the following. For caution, when you see an ignorant tweet about My Hero Academia, please just report it or block the user. Quote retweeting only gives it attention and stirs up controversy, then the whole fandom gets blamed over something that can easily be avoided if you guys don't give them attention. Thanks. So that was pretty dumb, but in case you are also dumb, let me explain to you why this is dumb. My issue with the tweet lies in the use of the word ignorant. This has low-key become some sort of buzzword recently, and it's kind of annoying, because at this point, ignorant can range from simply not knowing to being a hateful asshole. Like what do you consider an ignorant tweet about My Hero Academia? Because ignorant has two definitions. The more common definition of ignorant is lacking knowledge, information, or awareness about a particular thing. So this tweet could be interpreted by people maybe with bad intentions as being somebody who literally lacks knowledge about My Hero Academia. Like, if somebody didn't understand an episode or doesn't know who a character is or something, that person is technically ignorant. The other definition is discourteous or rude, which is what I assume that this person meant, but the problem with that is that that isn't the more common definition that people immediately recognize, you know? You see this all the time with the K-pop stans, for instance, where 9 times out of 10, they'll be calling whoever they're canceling that day ignorant, even though they didn't even say anything hateful, because they literally calling them ignorant because they don't know anything about K-pop. Long story short, my first problem with this tweet was the vagueness of the word ignorant, where toxic fans can intentionally or maybe even unintentionally interpret this as an endorsement of reporting or blocking people who they don't deem real fans because they don't know or understand certain aspects of the show or the manga. And I know that this person was probably referring to hateful tweets harassing people, though I have evidence to suggest otherwise, but ignorant doesn't get that vibe across. If you meant hateful tweets, then you should have said hateful tweets. As for the second thing that pissed me off, it's the tweet itself. This person is literally calling for you to go out and report and block people for saying things about My Hero Academia or about Horikoshi. Like I already said, people can wrongly interpret ignorance to be criticism because that's just how some stupid people work. We shouldn't be out here reporting people if they aren't breaking the rules. People can take advantage of the vague nature of the tweet and take it as a go-ahead to try and silence anything that they might see as ignorant. So anyways, I tweeted about this, and lo and behold, the account actually responded to me. But here was my original tweet. Here's what I said originally. It was pretty much what I just said in this video just now. But here's what this guy said. He responds to me and he says, "So we instead applaud the people criticizing Horikoshi over the use of a word? What a weird kind of cognitive bias you are displaying right now." Oh baby, this is tribalism in its purest form. Literally all I said in the original tweet was that we shouldn't go out of our way to silence people based on the arbitrary grounds of ignorant tweets. Yet this person took that as, yes, let's celebrate the people shitting on Horikoshi. What? Let's break this down here, right? They question if we should applaud the criticism against Horikoshi for the whole name thing. And obviously that wasn't what I meant, you fucking idiot. I'm not saying we should applaud it, I'm saying that we shouldn't be so quick to shoot down any criticism of the guy. You know, I personally don't think Horikoshi did anything wrong, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't be criticized for it. And what is cognitively biased about what I said? Like, are you just saying words and hoping they make sense? Now earlier I mentioned how I thought the person running this account might not have the best of intentions, and that all relates to the second half of this little argument here. Originally, I brought up an older tweet by this account where they quote tweeted IGN's review of the Kirishima backstory episode of My Hero Academia. Here's the tweet promoting the review, and notice how the only thing here that could be even remotely considered negative is the fact that they referred to the episode as filler. Nothing wrong with that. Shows can have filler episodes, they could be good, they could be bad, but they exist. So of course, Buddy responds with the oldie but goodie, delete your account. Hilarious and original. They then go on about how this review was, disrespectful to Horikoshi and Studio Bones, then proceed to tag the person who wrote the review, calling them a reviewer in quotations, obviously to show how they don't respect them as a critic. For starters, the review wasn't even that bad. This isn't really to defend IGN either, since I don't particularly like them as a company. I only really use them for news, but they didn't really do anything wrong here. They didn't really say anything that fucking insane here. They literally just said the episode was fine, but it was just indicative of a problem with the season as a whole, and that many of its story elements weren't really all that relevant to the main story. That's literally all they said. Those are legitimate gripes. That's not disrespect towards anybody. You know, if they had like made fun of Horikoshi or called Studio Bones garbage, then there would be a point here, but it's just an average review that didn't say anything all that groundbreaking. So there's really no grounds for calling this disrespectful in any capacity. A lot of people outside of this account seem to have been upset about this review because they called it filler, even though it was in the manga, but that doesn't matter. You know manga can have filler too, right? Like even Dragon Ball had filler in the manga. Manga can have filler. Just because it's a manga doesn't mean it's not filler. You know, just because the content is from the original source material doesn't make it not filler. Now, I personally don't agree that this episode should be considered filler, but you can certainly make an argument for it being so, since it didn't really progress the story forward a whole lot, but that's a discussion for a different video. Now, as for this account tagging the reviewer, I think it's pretty easy to see the irony here. You know, you're out here on your hashtag support Horikoshi high horse saying we need to stop all this harassment in the community, but when somebody says they didn't like an episode, here's their guys, go wild. If anybody here is expressing a cognitive bias, it's you, my friend. You can't be against harassment for the person you stand while also being very nonchalant about any harassment your followers may have done towards that IGN reviewer. Either you're against all harassment or you're for all harassment, honestly. You know, I don't mean to be out here calling people hypocrites, because at the end of the day, we're all hypocrites to some degree. But I think it's pretty clear what kind of person we're dealing with here. Stan culture is a hell of a drug, my dudes. Now, I still follow this account. I don't really have any bad blood towards them. I just think that they need to get their priorities straight. Please don't attack this person, by the way, since unlike them, I understand that criticism and harassment are separate entities. And that's all I'm doing here. I'm just criticizing. You know, if I've learned anything about the topics we've covered in today's video, it's that there should really be some sort of IQ test to gain access to the internet. You know, there's too many brainlets out here just making straight up garbage thinking it's gold. You know, only true intellectuals and anti-idiots like myself are allowed here. No more bad hot takes, no more bad memes, only conspiracy theories and pornography are allowed here anymore. But speaking of pornography, I think it's about time for this video's cum shot. We're gonna bring this video to an end, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like if you're entertained, and subscribe to remove the fucking rampant brain worms in my fucking skull. I've been MattCMG. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.